About 2 years ago, Prime released the first season to the series The Boys. It tells the story of a disillusioned regular guy whose girlfriend was quote unquote accidentally murdered by a superhero. Parodying a lot of the now classic superhero movie tropes, a group of heroes comparable both to the Justice League and the Avengers called the Seven are infinitely corrupt, and the main goal of superheroes is not to help people, it is actually to make a brand. The Boys got a season 2 and continues to explore the ins and outs of superheroes under the influencer/celebrity lens. The Boys is the kind of show where you hate every single character, none of them are good, but you just cannot stop watching. Right in its trail in 2021, they released a new show that follows the same kind of tropes, and it's called... Alright, so I had a really hard time knowing what angle to take with the Invincible video. I really like these types of stories. Like, I'm not shy about it, I really like tropes and I like to explore tropes. I like subversions of tropes. For those who don't know, tropes are just like building blocks to create stories. So it's very interesting to see how you can play with the building blocks and basically do a Jenga tower and how it works. It is really interesting to me. Invincible is all of that. And it was just a really fun experience. So I guess I'm going to start by recapping the show. So this video is supposed to be for people who watched it, but I guess that if you didn't, just be worried of spoilers. They're coming. So Invincible is the story of Mark. Mark is a high schooler that is also the son of one of the most known and powerful superheroes to ever be known in that universe, called Omni-Man. Mark is shown to be a good person, like inherently, before having superpowers. So he puts himself between a girl and her bully to defend her, like in the first 10 minutes of the show, just because he doesn't want her to be hurt. He doesn't even know her, which I thought was kind of cool. Although the rest of the show develops a relationship with that girl named Amber, but we're gonna talk to that later on. Mark gets his powers and get in touch with other superheroes. One day he's just like, oh, I finally got my powers. Namely a team of teenagers that are governed by a robot called Robot, but also Adam Eve, which is his cool friend. She's really cool. I like Adam Eve a lot. While that is happening, a demon detective is researching information about the murder of the equivalent of the Justice League in that universe, which were all murdered in their own base. But the audience is aware that the culprit is none other than Mark's own dad, Omni-Man. At the end of the first episode, we see a scene where Omni-Man enters the Tower of the Guardians of the Globe, this League stand-in, and they all question him, and he starts beating the shit out of them. The rest of the show followed 3 story points. Let's start with Robot's new team. So, since the big team was all defeated and they're all dead, they cannot be a team of superheroes anymore. So, Robot becomes the new chief, like the first person in the new team to replace them. His closeness to one of the participants in the team called Monster Girl. He goes so far to make sure that she stays alive and that she stays good, because he develops a crush on her. We see how far he would actually go to be with her, and how far happens to be creating a clone of another one of his crewmates to have a body. We also follow Omni-Man and his wife Debbie, as they are both suspicious of each other. Debbie suspects that Omni-Man is the murderer of the team of superhero, which she's right, and Omni-Man is starting to notice that she might know. Their relationship is interesting because Omni-Man is an alien, and Debbie is the one who basically taught him how to be a human. And finally, Mark and Invincible, his realization of what being a superhero entails, his love relationship with Amber, and his friendship with Will and Adam Eve. But more importantly, his superhero missions, which includes a trans-dimensional invasion, the protection of Mount Rushmore by a cool, if you want my opinion, the scientist was right, by a cool scientist, a gnarled altercation with Martians, a fight against an organized crime lord called Metalhead, which was also really cool. I hated him, but he was so funny. A neurosurgeon that likes to remove people's brains, a giant Cthulhu-like monster, and finally, his dad. As I said, I had a lot of fun in the show, and that was a very brief retelling of the show. It is 8 episodes of 40 something minutes, so I really condensed this as much as I could. But if you want to go watch it with what I just said and then come back for my opinions, you are free to. But let's start with stuff that I did not love. Again, I say that like every video about media. I like consuming media, I consume a lot of it, but I like to consume it critically, and I like to show what I liked and what I disliked. So I'm going to start with what kind of did not sit that right with me. So first off, that has nothing to do with like the story or the writing, but the style of drawing was not my favorite, and it was even distracting at times for me. And again, I was glad it was in 2D. I really like 2D animation, but I feel like they did not exploit the media to what it could be. The style looks like it felt like a perfect love child of Ben 10, like when he's grown up. I'm gonna show a picture here. Then DC's Nature's movie, like 2D Nature movie. And it's okay, but as someone who studies animation, I have beef with both of these. There is kind of feeling that animation is for kids, and when big studios are doing animations for adults, it seems like they purposefully make it quote-unquote boring to distance themselves and not be like, oh, this is interesting. So they don't utilize line weight at all, which really bothers me all the time, because I think it's one of the best part of 2D animation is line weight, because it makes it more interesting to look at, if that makes sense. When you're doing a superhero show, you can still like use line weight and bright colors. Don't make it too gray, like you don't have to. But yeah, at least that's the thing that they did. They didn't shy away too much from bright colors. Like Invincible is like bright yellow and bright blue, so it's not too bad, but I wish the style was more, like not artistic, because it was pretty artistic, but the style was more stylized, I guess. Secondly, sometimes the story felt rushed a little. It was a fun experience, don't take me wrong, and I will talk about what I enjoyed, but some things that bothered me was that in a 8-episode miniseries, most episodes were kind of the Monster of the Week style, but they then went nowhere, which I understand. I really like those episodes. I had a lot of fun with those episodes, they were really fun. But the thing is, all of them ended on a kind of opened area, and then they didn't touch up on it. So the one that was the most intense about it was the Mars invasion. So Mark goes to Mars. It is understood that he brings back a deadly parasite that will or would destroy the Earth. So it is a kind of parasite that latch on, as they explain it, a parasite that alone or even in a large group are useless, but when they attach to a host, they can then group up and are basically world-ending creatures. This episode happens like midway through the series, and it sucks because it is brought back in a blink and you miss it moment at the very end in a 12th hour recap. Like to introduce season 2, there's like those plot threads, and then we see, and it sucks. It really sucks, because it was a very interesting thing that could have been the end of season 1, honestly, but they just didn't go with it. And again, I have personal beef with seasons that are not shows that don't wrap themselves up, because I feel like it is in this day and age where shows are not picked up for season 2. Please wrap your story up. But yeah, it happened a couple of times where they brought up something that could be really interesting and then I want to see more and then forgot about it. And I understand why it brings excitement for a second season, but maybe it's it should, I don't know. It was good and I like the story points, but I wish that they focused more on them and maybe like cut a couple storylines, like maybe cut 1 or 2 to make more space to fill with the repercussions of each ones, if that makes sense. Last part, I kind of had a hard time with women in the show. So, as of my rewatch, and maybe I'm wrong because it was one of the things I was watching, but the show barely passes the Bechdel test. So, for those who don't know, the Bechdel test is a simple test that is non-exhaustive, and it is not like an end-all be-all for all movies. But what the Bechdel test is are there 2 or more named women that talk to each other and that have nothing to do with a man in the conversation? And for my watch, the only time that it happens is when Amber and Adam Eve are talking together about doing free work. And it's in one sentence that is sandwiched between two sentences about Mark. So again, the Bechdel test is not an end-all be-all, but it shows that they could have developed more their women, because Adam Eve was an excellent character. I wish we saw more of Adam Eve, actually, because we saw a little bit, but not enough. And Amber is such a badass. Let them have more fun together, and also they seem like to be great friends. You know? Like, the main women of the show are great. The mom is a badass, she's really cool. Like, she was voiced by Sandra Oh, and all the time you follow her, and she is really interesting, and she's like a very good character. Adam Eve was really fun. I really liked her as a character, and her powers were great. She could be like the main character of the show, because she's, again, maybe I'm biased, but she was much more interesting to me than even Mark was. She was there sometimes, she left, she did her thing, left again. She was inconsistently on screen, and it was a shame because she was truly one of the most interesting characters. And if they had more time, like maybe an episode or two more, it would have been great to focus an entire episode on her, to know what she's up to. Finally, Amber, she was a good love interest, she was a good character, but the implications of her character were a little shaky. She had a great personality and it was really fun, but she should have let Mark go sooner. He was so mean to her. In the first episode, Mark defends Amber without even knowing her and without expecting anything because he's a good person. But he still gets the girl. It's annoying because it's the kind of things that we're trying to move away from, that helping girls is not to get them as a trophy, if that makes sense. Helping people, don't help people if you want something in exchange. And to have a character not wanting anything in exchange, and because of that getting it, is sending the wrong message. And it's disappointing, let's just say that. I thought Amber was great. She stayed way too long. Amber, and even she seemed to know as a character that she was staying too long and gave him too many chances. But when it's the third time, you're like, I should have let you go a long time ago. Let him go. Yeah, it's a weird trope. I don't know, I have not checked, but I would bet it was written by a man, and it is disappointing. One thing I have to say about her character is this. If the end game of Invincible is for Eve and Mark to be together, which I don't like, by the way. I want Eve and Mark to stay good friends. I don't want them to be together apart, even if they are in the comics. I personally find it a little weird to introduce the only main character of color, as I know, maybe well, there's Titan, but the only woman of color as a Gwen Stacy trope. I am actually wrong. Mark's mom is actually a Korean American woman. I forgot about that. So she is a woman of color. But the point still stands that to have like the main character in Mark's team, a woman of color, also considered a prize, is weird. For those who don't know, Gwen Stacy is Spider-Man's first love interest who dies because Spider-Man is like accidentally tries to save her, but she's already dead. And it feels weird. Like, if either make Mark and Eve good friends and never get them together, which they already are, or just introduce a character of color as something else than a prize. Like, Amber should not be a prize, should not be a trophy, should not be whatever. And yeah, sure, they can be good friends, but I don't know. The implications, I'm still on the fence because they could go with a really good character path for her. I'm still on the fence. It's just, it was a little weird to me. And on love interest notes, I think it is a little fucking sad that William's boyfriend was dropped like that. I like Will. I think Will is a cool character. I thought he was a fun gay character. He was funny, and he acted like my actual queer friends, which is cool because a lot of time gay characters are depicted as stereotypes, and it was fun. That's a weird critique, because if gay people act like a stereotype in real life, I have no problem with that. It's fine, act the way you want. It's not a problem. I'm not saying that gay people are not valid or whatever. What I'm saying is that it's really sad when all gay people are, like, considered effeminate, loud, flamboyant, sassy, you know, stereotyped. And I thought that Will was great. And I was so glad they didn't shy away from his actual sexuality. Like in episode 6, where he has a monologue to his boyfriend. It was like he talked about his sexual experiences, and it was great in a moment, because so many shows are scared to like show that as being like valid. I don't know. It was great. It was fun. But god fucking damn it. His boyfriend is introduced in episode 6, I believe, where he immediately gets kidnapped, gets his brain removed, and disappears for the remaining episodes. We have no clue what happened to him, and Will doesn't mention him again. I think he mentions him like once in the last episode. I understand all those critiques are basically just that they made this the Mark and Omni-Man show, which is okay. They are the main character. But when you have to have a gay, out and proud character, please don't kill / make one of the love interests die on Discovery. Okay, these critics are getting really long, but there is a non-extensive list of the stuff that annoyed me apart from that. So, 3 robots planned that did not make sense. It was weird and convoluted and annoying. Rexplode's whole character and his arc, fucking bullshit. Hated it. And the lack of explanation of the superpowers. So we know how Omni-Man got powers, but we don't know why anybody else in that universe is powerful. That was annoying to me. Anyway. Now to move on to stuff that I actually like. Omni-Man, his arc was great. So Omni-Man was a really fun twist villain, and I have a video right here that I'm gonna put somewhere to show what I mean by that, because I watch a lot of media criticism. And I think that he is so successful as a twist villain because we know that he's the villain from the first episode. That makes a very interesting arc of someone who we know is probably bad, but we don't know, like, we know that he did bad things, like in this case, murdering a room full of superheroes. But we don't know why he did it, and what was the purpose, and what are his motivations. And it makes for such an interesting exploration of villainy, because we don't know what he's doing. They're destined into suspicion from Debbie, from the demon, and the government agency. And Omni-Man's whole paranoia through everything developing, because it's a very interesting way to explore villainy. Because if you know a twist villain is bad, but nobody else in the show does, you can really see what they're doing with it, and it is fun. The last episode was a really powerful one. The clash between Omni-Man and Mark, one brainwashed to believe that humans suck, nobody else than the Viltrum are good, against someone who grew up to like Earth and its humans as their own, marks a genuine hurting and his confusion as to what to do, both because his parent, mentor, is revealed to be a monster, but also because he's purposefully killing people in Mark's name to mark a point. And on the other, Omni-Man, who is genuinely confused as to why his own son, his pawn, is not able to comprehend his life purpose, and beating him at that. And in the climax, as Mark is actively dying, his father finally running away, unable to kill the only thing that would prevent him from fulfilling his purpose. I really like this, and I hope that whenever season 2 drops, if they intend on redeeming Omni-Man, they do it right. If his only redemption is one act of justice and then dying, I will fucking quit. I will be mad. I don't want it. But honestly, I think it would be cool to have him stay evil forever and just continue to try to fight Mark. Or trying to get good, but then seeing the long and hard process that it is for him to unlearn his xenophobia, basically. It would be more interesting, but I'll stay open to whatever the writers are up to, and I guess that if a season 2 happens, I'm gonna have opinions on that. Number 2, I really like the integration of Mark's social life into side characters. As I said, I thought that Amber and Eve were really cool, albeit their lack of individuality. I liked it. I thought it was an interesting way to portray a young hero, and the writing felt human. I like the side quest very much too, the one with the metalhead was really good, and that the character's writing was great. It was really interesting to have the side characters were fun because they all felt individual, and they didn't seem like side characters, if that makes sense. They all felt like they could have their own show, which was annoying because we want to see more of them, but it was a cool thing. Yeah, I guess most of the lower tier villains were great. I just really didn't like the clones. It was well crafted and interesting. And I like certain character design, like Invincible, Adam, Eve, and Amber. I thought personally that a lot of them were really bland, but most of them were fine. I think they would have been slightly better if they were brighter and like more colorful again. Here's a little live rant about Adam, Eve being a Gwen Tennyson clone. How funny is that? I was watching this with Angel, my friend, and at one point I was like, hey, that's Gwen Tennyson. And then I looked it up, and their character designs are identical. They have the same hair color, eye color, powers. It is so funny. It is so funny. They are the same character, and it's fine because I love Gwen, but I thought it was so funny. Anyway, and finally, I really liked the story, particularly because it was through Mark's eye. Mark is specifically naive, and his life comes with a lot of privilege. He knew he was going to have powers, and he doesn't even seem happy when he develops them. He just says, huh, finally. Mark's journey is not that hard at first. He deals with issues with his naivete, with a certain sense that everything will work out. And it does at first, until episode 5, where he decides to help Titan and get destroyed by Metalhead's allies, particularly Pedal Beast, who sent Marks and 2 other allies in the hospital. After this incident, his best friend's boyfriend gets kidnapped and brainwashed, and after that, he gets his shit beaten by his monster of a father. Mark's slow burn realization that everything is not as it seems starts in episode 2, where, after an alien invasion, he is in his hospital to look on a civilian he saved, only to realize she unfortunately passed away. But nobody seems to care. Everybody tells him that it's not a big deal. Mark had, in fact, done everything he could, but it's still a human life that was lost. A human life that he tried to save, and it didn't work. This show is great at showing what would happen, and how easy it would be for Mark to simply turn like his father, evil. Apathy is already easy, but apathy is easier when you are invincible. Alright, so even with my slight criticism that lasted like 10 minutes, I overall really enjoyed Invincible. It was fast-paced, it was fun, it was a 2D animation, something that I want more of as I'm studying it. It was gory, but not too gore, it was just enough and fun. It gets a good 8 out of 10. I am really excited for Season 2, even though I must admit I am a little hesitant on where they're heading. Let's just hope that the writers are going to continue being as good as they were in Season 1. My social medias are all over the screen and in the description in my link tree. Thank you for watching, I guess, and see you soon.